How's it going, guys? My name's Saj. The channel is a Pretty Boy Offense, and today we are going to be doing the video of the top 3 games I love and the top 3 games I hate for Week 11 of the NFL season. I just want to apologize. I didn't do my week review and my week preview this week just because I've been so busy with school and work, but I was going to make sure I got this video out. I know a lot of you guys have talked about how you appreciate these videos, just a different level of insight that you're probably not getting anywhere else. Hopefully it's helping you, so make sure I was going to get this out. And this is a really interesting week. I feel like I say it every week, but there's really no slam dunk games. Even like some of the slam dunks that you think you might have had like early in the season. Like I definitely thought like the Tampa New York game would have been a slam dunk. And I'll get into some other games that I thought were slam dunks, but could be trap games as well. But like that Tampa New York game, you see what happened with Tampa, and they've shown that they're prone to some hiccups now and then, so it's getting more concerning to even pick them against these lower oppositions. It feels like when they go against good teams, they perform better, and as long as they're a team on the mend, as long as they're getting healthy, they'll be ready for playoffs. But in terms of Survivor for us, that kind of sucks. So just with that being said, I'll get into the 3 games I hate and 3 games I love. And as we always do, we start with the hate games. So the first hate game, you guys already know this. You look at the schedule and you see 2 good teams playing each other. You know we're not touching that at all. It's the Colts and it's the Bills. 2 of the best teams in the AFC right now. The Colts O-line's finally healthy, and you're seeing Jonathan Taylor just dominate teams. You're seeing Carson Wentz play better, which is always good. And they're going up against a Bills defense that's one of the best in the AFC right now as well. And then on top of that, their offense is firing. There's not much to say. Like, you could break down the X's and O's of who I think is going to win, but it doesn't matter. In terms of Survivor, you want to stay away from this pick because it could go either way. Who implements their game plan better on the other one? Like, that's what's going to dictate it. And these are 2 good teams, both capable of winning. So we stay away from the Colts versus Bills. It's good team versus good team. The next game that I hate, Ravens versus Chicago Bears. So the Ravens, statistically, or record-wise, better team. Just where they are they're in their competitive prime right now. They're competing for a playoff spot. This is a team that people expect to make like a postseason run and stuff like that. And then you go against Chicago, who it's like they're just learning. So you would think the Ravens are the team to pick in a Survivor game this week, but we thought that going against Miami last week, and look what happened. And this is starting to be a situation now with a lot of these teams where initially with these injuries, we expected them to have, like with the Ravens, to have these kind of hiccups like they did against Miami, like earlier in the season. But then they tore through some teams. Lamar Jackson started playing at an MVP level and stuff. So we almost started ignoring the fact that these injuries were slowly or had mounted up in the preseason and, continuing now. And they're still trying to figure out the running back situation and all that. At some point, those results do kind of catch up to you and you do kind of level out. And this really feels like a game where they could just start leveling out. We have a quarterback in Justin Fields who's really starting to get a feel for the NFL now and getting a feel for like his feet under him. And in much the way Lamar Jackson is taking advantage of space when defense gives it to him, Justin Fields is fully capable of doing that as well. Justin Fields isn't utilizing his receivers as well as Lamar Jackson has kind of taken that step this year in. But against the Ravens secondary, where they only have maybe 1 or 2, I think only 1 serviceable cornerback right now, you got to think that if there was ever going to be a game that Justin Fields could start throwing down the field, this would be it. Even with that blitz-happy Ravens look, that athleticness that Justin Fields has could really help keep him alive. And I've always talked about how I trust Harbaugh, and I think like coaches are so important to winning these games. But when we start coupling the coaching as a positive for the Ravens, but then you start talking about the injury regression and stuff like that, return to the standard, this just really feels like a game that could get out of hand for the Ravens. As much as I love the Ravens, as much as I have a lot of friends that love the Ravens, I think this is kind of one of their trap games, and it really plays into just the abilities of Justin Fields and kind of the trend that Chicago's been on, relinquishing the play calling from Nagy and stuff and kind of taking that next step in his development. You just don't want to be the team that he takes the next step on and sneaks out a win. And I really feel like this could happen. So yeah, I really hate the Ravens-Chicago game. And then the last game that I hate, kind of like very much like similar points I just talked about with the Ravens, but this is to the absolute extremes. It's the Titans and it's the Texans. Now I know a lot of you are probably surprised because I think we all got a little convinced there that the Titans are a good team, especially in like the good team bad team club, and the Texans have 100% been a bad team this year. But this feels like the big trap game, much like I just talked about the Ravens. The Titans have had so many injuries, but they've still been flying high, beating some of the best teams in the AFC. But the way they've done it is just, up until like last week, I even would have said like it's just not a repeatable fashion. And I feel like I have to keep saying it to the point where there's going to be games where that defense doesn't stand out and play as incredibly as they have been and keeps giving them short fields. And, the Julio Jones, AJ Brown. Oh my God, I completely forgot his name. But their injury history is really going to catch up with Ryan Tannehill, so he'll have less people to throw to. What really is Adrian Peterson now that Derrick Henry's gone? Like, you just asked him to come in and sub in. There's so much going on that team that's just like teetering on the edge of a knife, and all it takes is one of these things to not go right in a game, and that I feel like that whole team crumbles. And against a team like the Texans, which I don't think does anything great outside of maybe Tyrod Taylor relatively like capably taking care of a ball in a decent game script, this really could be the game. And then we talk about how you want to stay away. This wasn't really one of my strategies earlier in Survivor, but now we're getting to the point where pools are thinning out. And my buddy's always been a big supporter of this. Is like, you stay away from like the herd mentality when everybody's taking the team that's playing the Jets. Like, take the next best game, because all it takes is the Jets to beat like they did when they beat the Titans, and then 90% of your pool, 80% of your pool, 60% of your pool is like wiped out based on that. And this feels like the game that everybody's going to be wanting. Everybody kind of left in your pool is going to want to take if they still have the Titans left. If you stay away from that game, you're safe in case of this messy hiccup of a game that could cost you your Survivor season. We just reached the halfway point, so there's no need to gamble on this. And like I said, with Tyrod playing, there's a level of competency there in the offense that I trust a bit more now. And it's not necessarily that the Texans will beat the Titans. I think the Titans will they'll kind of catch themselves and with their injuries and everything like that. So those are 3 games I hate. I also I'll throw this one in there. The Cardinals are playing the Seahawks this week, and the Cardinals have been on a two game road right now. They've been, the second game they had with Colt McCoy was this past weekend. They're about to go into this third week without Kyler Murray. If Kyler Murray plays and DeAndre Hopkins plays, I can see them kind of wanting to rush them back just in case for this NFC West game against the Seahawks. But I wouldn't be confident taking the Cardinals even with Kyler and Hop playing against the Seahawks, just because they have their bye week next week. If he comes back, I feel like it'd be too early. It was a high ankle sprain. They talked about him healing fast, but we've never really seen Kyler come back from anything super serious injury wise, and a high ankle sprain is relatively serious in terms of how it affects you, your physical performance on the field. So I would stay away from that, even though I think the Cardinals are a great team and the Seahawks are a bad team. But just another one I throw in there. Okay, so the next category we do, the love games, right? These are the ones you guys want to pick, so let's start looking at them. Dolphins, Jets. So I know this is a weird one because the Dolphins are in a weird situation quarterback-wise with Jacoby Brissett and Tua maybe still not being fully healthy and stuff like that. But I think the biggest thing we should keep an eye on is the Jets quarterback situation as well, with the announcement that Joe Flacco is going to be the starter. I really believe in this Dolphins team doing enough to win this game. It won't be pretty. I don't think it'll be a sexy game. It might not even be one you watch, but this feels like the smarter pick as opposed to a Titans-Texans, where you're just taking the better team over a weak team. There's not really much to hang your hat on because the Dolphins have kind of been held back by their coaching, held back by their quarterback play, but their defense is still half decent. I think the faults of the defense this year are kind of just on the high volatility plays where the interceptions and stuff like that just aren't coming back their way. But they're still playing well. They're still playing decent, and that offense is ready to fire when it's in rhythm. And I think against a Jets defense, that's how you're going to get in rhythm. You're going to complete passes. You're going to get your running game going against this Jets defense. So I love Dolphins over Jets, especially with Joe Flacco coming back, having to learn this system, play safe, and do all that. So I like the Dolphins this week as one of my love games. Next love game, Browns versus Lions. Good team, bad team. This is kind of one of the first things we talked about. We've been preaching all year. The Browns are a good team. The Lions are a bad team. Congrats on them for getting a tie. They're not going to go 0-17. They might go 0-16-1. But Browns are a good team. They got rid of OBJ. And the worrisome thing is not Taysom Hill. Sorry, Baker Mayfield. Always kind of taking a shot. So it's like when he comes in the next week, he's always nursing something, dealing with something. But I don't think this Lions. When you run the way that the Browns do and have a stable like they do of running backs, I don't think if Baker Mayfield's not healthy, Case Keenum can perform in this offense, and they can use their running backs. They won't let the Detroit Lions beat them. And the Detroit Lions, Jared Goff's also nursing some injuries as well, so I'm more concerned about that. A guy who literally needs everything to be perfect in order for him to produce. So, yeah, Browns versus Lions. I love that pick. And then the next one. So this is another one that some people might think is risky, but 49ers over Jaguars. Shanahan's got Garoppolo playing well. And I think with that 11-minute drive that they did on Monday Night Football, you can orchestrate that against the Jaguars. The Jaguars have D-line talent. The Jaguars do not have D-line talent at the level of depth needed to stop a drive like that. If you can just keep pounding the rock, limit Jimmy Garoppolo's need to throw down the field, and just keep constant pressure on the Jaguars. We've seen that Trevor Lawrence has taken steps in becoming a better quarterback, but this team has not become better. They're not closer to winning games. They had that win over the Bills, but it wasn't really. That was more of a Bills issue in terms of the mistakes and stuff they were making. The Jaguars were close with the Colts, but again, I think that was the Colts were letting the Jaguars stay there. I didn't really believe what I was seeing when I was saw the statistics, and I watched the game and I was like, wow, this is incredible. I can't believe the Colts let this happen. So yeah, I this might seem closer on paper, but I really do feel like the 49ers are just a better team than the Jaguars. And I think the 49ers are finally, they got back into the coaching patterns that made them such a competitive team the last few years when they were healthy. I don't know how they're they can't fall back out of it. If you're Shanahan, you need to do whatever you have to do to keep this team competitive, and that's running the ball and letting your defense, your D-line try and produce. With Arden Key, find ways for him to get involved because he is a young guy that needs to get involved. So I think this is the way they do it. You can impose your will on the Jaguars. But yeah, those are my love and hate games this week. Like I said, gave you a couple more hate games just to stay away from. I know the Tampa Bay Giants pick is going to be a really popular one this week. I'd say probably stay away from that one. But I really do like 49ers over Jaguars just because to get value out of the 49ers at this point in the season, I think would be great if you still have the 49ers available. So I like that. And then yeah. I hope you guys have a good luck this week making your picks. It's getting harder and harder. I think I gotta start expanding this session because I know all of us have picked different teams. So you kind of want to hear information on the teams that you still have available. I know some of these are kind of getting eaten up already. I know a few of them were nice, ones that I've touched on before. So I'll make sure I expand that next week. I'll also do a bit more in depth into the preview stuff so that if I don't do it in the love and hate stuff, then you'll be able to get the information in the preview. But thanks again for having so much patience with me guys. This week was just brutal in terms for work and school and everything, but I was gonna make sure I got this video for you. So good luck with this week, guys. Bye.